Who is everyone's go-to for buying and customizing plans?
The Barndo Co. Well, here's the thing is I've got a lot of opinion in this because, again, proper plan, like failing to plan is planning to fail. And so if your go-to is I want the cheapest option, or I shopped on Etsy, or
please not Etsy.
We live that dream.
Please not a notebook piece of paper.
Yes. So, but in my experience, and you can back this up because you build them, like you're responsible for the detail, is you want someone who not only can give you a set of plans, but can plan what your experience is going to be, which means I don't need a square with room layouts. I need to know what footings are going in. What are the footing
all
sizes?
the details.
Yeah, what is the door sizes? What are the window sizes? Are there any elements of the build that you want called out specifically? In our instance, when we're building, specs trump everything. So like your plans may have some general information, but your specifications will overrule if there's ever a conflict. Like, well, the plan shows that it has this, but my specifications say this, specs win because you spent time with us and we dedicated the specs to the build. So the plans are a very important piece, but you need an entire encompassation of like encompassment. What is the word there? You need to encompass the entire thing with all the details. MEP is a big deal, right? You need where are the lights going? Where are the light switches going to be? Where is there a platform for your HVAC? Where is that going to be? Like, speak into this because this is the most critical piece of the
most critical
process.
thing is we typically when we first started this, we were like, hey, you write it on a piece of notebook paper, we'll figure it out.
We were using Magic Plan.
That was nightmare.
Yeah,
and so the more detailed your plans are, and people can go overboard. I've seen plans that are 100 pages long. That's too much.
Yeah.
But there are subgroups, especially with our designers in the Barndo Co, where we require a certain amount of subgroup detail that I need to know what's going on these walls. I need to know what's going on the footings. I need to know each individual blown up piece. That way, when the county gets it and they come out and say, well, why is this footing 18 inches wide and 22 inches deep? I can pull the piece of paper out and go, that's why. And the reason being is for us is because every one of our plans, even though we have really good designers, we then take that design plan and then we ship it out to a structural engineer, structural set. And that structural set gets even more detailed.
That's right.
And so if you're building a house and you're not doing these things and you have a builder that says, put on a notebook piece of paper, either A, he's in the infancy stage, which we were a while back. That's not a dig at those guys. They're not accelerated enough to the point to where they're there.
Yeah.
And then if you get to a situation where you only have 3 pages to a piece of paper, to a set of plans, and you bring them to us and you go, can you price this? Obviously not. We can't. It's like writing down a menu item and saying, I want a hamburger or a cheeseburger, but I want you to guess the ingredients.
Yeah. Well, I would even lead in and say this. The honest answer is if your builder has someone they work with them. Mm-hmm. If you haven't had conversations with builders, don't even talk plans yet, because you want a global strategy and you want all the pieces working together. So all of our designers, and we have several, but they're all really great. Each one has kind of their own specific scope, what they're really good at. But we require them to use Revit. Mm-hmm. They can't design in any other platform. We have a lot of great designers that come to us that use different systems, and we're like, I'm sorry, I can't make it work because I've got to have the Revit file. Why? Why is that important? It's going to save you time and money when I send it to my engineer, because my engineer will be able to pull that Revit file and go in and do their strategy and the same thing. Now, I know that there's ways around it where you can use like CAD files and DWGs and stuff like that, but the experience that we've had where everyone's in the same software and everyone's speaking the same language and the engineer knows the way we prefer to do it as a go-to method, and the designer knows what our standards are, you end up with something that kind of it's a global strategy.
Flow.
Yeah, it works together.
It's not even to that. I mean, you got from the architect to the designer to the structural set, from the structural set to the field. And once it gets to the field, the reason why we require Revit or the format itself is because not only does it start with those 3 guys, when it ends up in our project manager's hands and our area manager's hands and all of our subs, They're not looking at 30 different versions of a set of plans that have 30 different formats. They're looking at one format.
That's right.
And it's perfection.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the Barndo Show podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this content, hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And then be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms at the Barndo Co. Super simple to find us. And then when you're ready to dive in a little more, maybe look around some of our available floor plan options or take a look at the gallery of our work, or maybe you're ready to connect with our team and explore what it looks like to build your dream barndominium, you can visit us online at thebarndoco.com.